Like, so I wanted to ask a lot of conversations about making sure that the supply chain is clean around OTT and or connected TV, as we sometimes refer to it. I wanted to ask, your thoughts about sort of the hygiene and not, but not just fraud, but viewability and other issues as they exist now. The role of the verification companies and sort of where we need to go.
Yeah, as more money starts to shift away from traditional television into impression-based, addressable, and targetable media, it becomes even more important for the measurement, the reporting, and the trust to mirror what people are used to in television, which is knowing that when they're buying ads from trusted partners, those ads are going to run, they're going to reach a certain amount of people, and they're going to reach a certain amount of people inside of that demographic that's being targeted. So publishers have a unique opportunity to shift dollars away from linear towards more impression-based addressable channels. But with that comes client concern, and really the need to understand more from a third-party perspective where these ads are running, how they're reaching their viewer, and ensure that they're being delivered on target, because it's really a requirement of TV buyers to know that stuff. So as TV buying is shifted, it's become a requirement of people buying in OTT to know that stuff as well.
So, what are the problems, if I will, if you would, and also where do the problems exist? It seems to me that for the premium AVOD big big shots, it's pretty straightforward. But there's a sort of another world or another dimension where it's not necessarily all good. What are some of the issues, would you say?
So some of yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The premium publishers who have a lot of skin in the game and want to continue to drive substantial tier one marketing budgets through their platforms, they're trustworthy. It's really the questions that marketers have is more around the longer tail publishers, the aggregators, the programmatic buying pipes, and they want to make sure that they're upholding those buying channels and modalities to the same standard that they're holding the premium television networks to, which is knowing what type of content it's running in, making sure it's brand safe, making sure it's viewable and measurable. And that what that does is it opens the door for two things. It opens the door for more money to flow to impression-based buying and addressable buying, knowing that if a publisher has an audience that they're, or sorry, if a advertiser has an audience that they're really desperate to reach, they may need to expand outside of that core group of tier one publishers to get enough scale in that audience. But by doing that, they want to make sure that they're protected against fraud or invalid ad traffic or even brand safety. And that's really where the third-party ad verification platforms have an opportunity to step in and be that trusted validation partner, not just for the advertiser and agency, but for those tier two, tier three publishers and tier one programmatic buying pipes.
What about the role of verification companies as measurement companies? Because the measurement issue is difficult, isn't it?
I think there's a gap in measurement when it comes to TV dollars flowing to digital. Um, I don't really think anybody has a good grasp on what's going to win out. TV buyers are still thinking about a traditional ratings point. Digital buyers are still thinking about impression based. In everything that I'm talking about with publishers, our goal is to kind of surface both, so that a TV buyer can look at what they're running and understand the measurement component, as the same for a digital buyer. Third parties from a validation standpoint, yes, absolutely move on beyond just validating that the impressions were delivered to a human, but being able to validate that the impressions were in fact delivered to a human that was inside of the target audience that was reached in the right type of content.
And Mike, finally, having been in the programmatic space on the vendor side at MediaMath, and now as a agency person, what are some observations you have of the state of the programmatic? That's something we could talk about for hours, but particularly with video programmatic, what are your thoughts about the state of that, where it might be going? What are some of your thoughts there?
I think you're starting to see a lot of video sellers embrace programmatic in different ways. Some of them are opening up more supply inside of their supply pool to be transacted on programmatically, knowing that a unified audience approach is super important for anybody in marketing. I think others are starting to go the opposite route and build their own either self-serve programmatic platforms or even self-serve direct platforms. Hulu just recently rolled out their self-serve platform. You've seen Roku acquire DataZoo to launch OneView, which allows a deeper level of data to be transacted on, but the publishers and app owners to still maintain control of their own audience and their own sales process.
And how does that square with you as a buyer in terms of all these different data, you know, data sources, many of which are somewhat opaque, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think it varies by campaign or outcome. For our clients who are looking to just get mass reach against a target audience that they already have, buying programmatically through one platform is still the best way to go, because you have the aggregated frequency, you have the aggregated measurement, everything showing up in one place in one dashboard. I think for some campaigns and some clients who want to take a little bit of a different approach and get more in the weeds on user registration data or even specific shows or content, that's really where we need to continue to buy directly from the platforms and the publishers' own tools, because they're not making all that available to DSPs across the ecosystem.